So on the Constitution, when does this go back to the board now for approval?
I think we authorized 90 days, and it has to be back to the board.
And you've got about a month left.
Yeah, we've used up a good portion of it. And I'm optimistic about this. I think, the thing is, let's find out who the no votes are. And we know they're no votes, so let's not let them trip up the process. Because I think there are some of them that are going to be no votes that are going to try to filibuster this into oblivion. And that's not acceptable. I think if they're no vote, let them go in a corner and get out of the way and let us do our job. And for the rest of us, though, I think that if we schedule one session over 2 days, maybe 3 days, then I think we can get it done. And so in the next couple of weeks, we're going to schedule this. I would also like to have that broadcast, and I'll see what I can do about getting a live streaming video. Not a recording, but a live streaming video, so that people can see how their board members are acting and what their positions are. And
absolutely.
The other thing is we can take input from members through chats, maybe through the Sioux Tribe Guide. Maybe we can arrange to have a computer set up right next to where we're working, so members can log into the Sioux Tribe Guide.
Well, just like I'm going to give you questions on here.
Absolutely.
And it's not costing a penny, is it?
That's right. That's right.
So do you have a few minutes now
Sure,
to answer the membership's concerns?
Yeah.
Earlier yesterday, I posted on here, anybody's got a question for our chairman, Aaron Payment, please write it down, And please don't anybody answer them by or.
Yeah.
So.
I think some of them we addressed earlier, but for the ones we haven't, some of the new ones.
Well, we'll just, kind of summary them over, and if you answered it, then, I think they'll get that.
Yeah, and the other thing is we can make this an ongoing process.
Absolutely.
So, yes.
Maybe once a month or something like that.
Well, probably more frequently than that. Probably
Yeah.
every other week. For members that are watching this, if it's forwarded to you, you're urged to go to get a Facebook account and join the Sioux Tribe Guide. Also, I have my own Facebook page. It's under my name, Aaron Payment, and we would like to know what you have to say. Join in and give your input. I think the Sioux Tribe Guide is having a profound effect on the board of directors. We've never had anything like this before. Our newspaper, unfortunately, does not have the ability to do Q&A in an open-ended way, and I'm working on that, and we'll try to get that. But in the meantime, join the Sioux Tribe. With the dire financial problems the tribe is having, did you know or approve of the Lansing or the Las Vegas trip? Is the tribe paying for this? What's the importance of such a trip? And could board members attend seminars instead? And I think we addressed that, and I do think that we can find efficiencies and savings. I did not know about the Las Vegas trip. I knew peripherally because I heard some were going, but I'm not part of the approval process. I'm willing to perform that role, to review whether or not they're valuable trips. But in the meantime, I do think that all trips that are not related to government relations in DC or Michigan travel, I think that all the rest of the trips should be brought to the board of directors in a public session to decide whether or not they're worthwhile. You want me just to go through them?
Yep, next question.
Okay, Corinne Rudd, another tribal member from down the Detroit area. Could Aaron explain how combining jobs would save money versus posting a job and how much it would save? Actually, we have a recent issue where we consolidated a couple positions, and I believe we saved about $300,000. So we actually had 4 positions. We consolidated them into 2. So basically it turns into like additional duties as assigned, and we saved about $300,000. The board of directors voted on it because it dealt with key personnel. Some board members voted no because they insisted it was a violation of policy, which I don't think is correct. But I think in those instances where we can combine positions, consolidate functions, and save money that can then be used for services, I think that's absolutely what we should be doing. This question comes from my good friend Nancy Hatch. What are some of the major reasons for the budget deficit we are now facing, and are these problems from the previous administration? I would say 100% of them are from the previous administration. The projected budget deficit, annual budgets were prepared before and just as I became chair this time, and so the over projections were not due to me. Nonetheless, it is my job and my role to try to balance the budget, and we did. We identified the savings. Some of the big ticket items like the NGS $2.99 million that we have to find by December 31st, and the $2.77 million Greek settlement they happened before I became chairperson, but that's not an excuse. We will find a way to balance out the budget, but they did occur prior to my current administration. What are some of the reasons why board members do not support the new constitution? I put board members in a couple of categories. I think some are supportive, some are generally supportive, but they have concerns about things that need to be changed. But make no mistake, there are some board members that say they're supportive, but they're absolutely not supportive, that they are going to use every argument, every excuse. There are many reasons that we need to improve the document, but there are only excuses not to vote on it. I find it horribly condescending that we would spend $500,000 in 2 years of the committee members' lives and then to be standing in the way of letting the people vote on this document. The only thing preventing you, the members, from voting on this right now is the board's unwillingness to let you vote on it, and that needs to change. Sharon Downs, I would like to know if the people going into positions being made available will be doing so with contracts, and the answer is no. So the team members that have been moved into new positions, they do not include contracts. Now, we do have one team member that has a contract that continues to have a contract, but we're not giving new contracts out. I don't support giving out new contracts, and so no, that's not happening. We're not giving out new contracts.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
This is a question from Nancy Hatch. Question: do we have an estimate timeline for the Lansing Casino?
Kinda. We kinda do. I think the timeline is that we acquire the property by November 1st. It originally was August 1st. When I became chair, I reviewed it. It wasn't realistic for us to acquire it by August 1st. I believe that we are in line to approve it by November 1st. We have to shore up some property acquisition surrounding the casino, and if we can do that, I think that we are in line to having that done by November 1st. But that's just acquiring the property. The long-term timeline, there hasn't been a timeline established with all the steps. We had a project meeting last week, our first project meeting since I became chair, to start laying out all of the tasks that have to happen, and we're doing that. I'm optimistic about the project. I had concerns before I became chair about the way it went about getting this project together. As members know, I pushed the referendum. Since then, we've had to get real critical about some of the due diligence that was just not done. And also we're changing the scope of the project to fit more closely with what the market says we should do. There was no market study done. There was no traffic study done. There was no background checks on the partners, the developers. There was no equity shares assigned to the partners. Those are key elements of what should have been done, and they weren't done. But the good news is that we got the new board and some of the old board got together and we pushed these items, and the project is in line.
Good.
So we're moving forward.
She says, when this was being promoted by the previous administration, no one would discuss how long this initiative would actually take, and it seems some people have an expectation that the doors will open in a year.
Well, here's the thing, okay, so I feel confident that we have in our mandatory trust provision the ability to do this. I think that the law's on our side. However, the question then is whether or not the Interior Department will follow their legal duty in the 1997 Land Claim Settlement Act and follow the mandatory trust provision and take the land in trust. If they don't do it, then we're going to have to litigate to compel them to do it. If we litigate, we're talking several years. It's not going to happen overnight. If the Secretary of Interior exercises their rightful role, then it can happen overnight. And so I would say that if the Secretary makes their approval, we should move immediately to start constructing, to build, and to open. And not wait, even if there's litigation, that we don't wait. So,
Okay, there's another one from Sharon Downs.
I already answered that.
No, she's got another one here.
Okay.
Yes, all these changes may be okay, but if there is contracts, we are still right where we have been
No,
forever.
I answered that one.
And the tribe pays and have people really not work.
Yeah,
Okay.
I answered that one.
Renee Scruton, Robinson. I had heard that the tribe had renegotiated the golden parachute contract several years ago, and that the only persons who refused to renegotiate his contract was Mike McCoy, thereby being the only person who still possesses the active golden contract, given that Vic Matson Jr. recently was paid over $150,000 upon his termination, and that this contract was used as part of the excuse used by the board for the tribe paying this severance package to him. Is it true that Mike is the only person who still has a golden parachute contract? Can you please tell us who exactly has the luxury of possessing an employment contract with the tribe other than doctors, dentists, and attorneys?
Okay, that's a loaded question, and so I want to be careful not to have an inappropriate response. What I will say is that Mike McCoy is not the only person who has one of the so-called golden parachute contracts or evergreens. There's a number of people who have them, and so there was a change after I left office where those, by the way, those contracts were entered into by the administration before me. But there was a change where they were reduced in the total liability. So the longest term contract was a 4-year payout. Now it's been reduced to 6 months. And so I think the board did a pretty good job with that. And so there's many of the people who previously had those employment contracts continue to have those contracts. But they're limited now. They're 6-month payout contracts. I was told by some people that the policies of the tribe now apply, and I did notice in one of the contracts I read that the policies do apply. However, the cause for termination still remains a felony conviction. So anything short of a felony, you can't terminate them. If you do terminate them, you got to pay them out. They're 6 months. So that total liability has been reduced pretty significantly, and so.
Okay. This is her second part, Renee Scruton Robinson. Can you tell me why the tribe has been operating for the last 4+ years without a strategic plan? Also, can you tell me why the tribe does not have a strategic plan when a non-native employee was paid an extremely high salary to work at home for around 6 months on the development of a plan?
Okay, on the last portion of what you asked, I don't know that information. I don't know that to be fact. I know Renee and I trust Renee, and she's a good friend. Renee was probably one of the best team members that we've ever had with regard to planning and looking forward and developing a strategic plan. We currently don't have a strategic plan, and so one of the things we need to do is we need to regroup. We need to do a census of the membership needs, and then to take the results from that census and draft up a new strategic plan. I would like to be able to actually contract with Renee Robinson to play a role in developing the strategic plan and in doing the census for us. And so those are identified needs that I think need to be addressed. But on the second portion of it, I don't know that that's fact. I don't know the details of that. I'll have to look into that.
Okay. Kevin Carr, Aaron, we all know that there are board of members that are working against you and the tribal members for the betterment of the tribe. What can we, as people, do to have them immediately removed permanently from the board and keep them from being hired in any other tribal positions?
That's an interesting question because we don't have a provision for a recall. we only have the ability to remove board members for cause. And so unless we can identify what that cause is, when people vote, you're stuck with them, whether they're good or bad. And so I would urge people to start putting some pressure on their board members to make sure that they are positively oriented and looking for solutions, not just negative. We do have a couple, but it's only a couple, that are, anything that I propose, they're opposed to. So I propose, they oppose. It's action, reaction. And there's nothing I can do to get them to come along. I've been reaching out, I've been trying to use positive reinforcement, I've been trying to give them due respect where I believe a couple of them are not giving due respect back. And I'm not naming any names, and I'm not going to hint at any of that, but you can make up your own mind. Read the travel paper, read on Facebook comments that are made by various
And
board
maybe
members.
if I could add something, the election is less than 2 years away too, right?
Yeah, and so here's the thing, here's my commitment. For those who I don't think are positively oriented or forward thinking and trying to work to help our tribe, I'm going to do everything I can to get them out. I'll make sure that people know about what they're doing. And I just won with 1,000 votes. I won every unit. I won both the votes inside the
I don't think they're
cemetery and
gonna need
outside.
your help. I think they already know who has to go.
But I will pledge to the membership that I'll make sure that they know the score. And those people who are impediments, I will do my best to make sure they know the members know the score.